Heartwarming moment, Millionaire discovered his employee's incredible secret teaching his son to code. In the heart of a bustling Midwestern town, the sun glared down as Alex strolled past sleek luxury cars and pristine office buildings, the fortune he had built pulling at the edges of his smile. Yet, beneath the shiny veneer of his millionaire life, his heart felt heavy. Days blurred into weeks, filled with high-stakes meetings and endless corporate decisions, but he sensed an emptiness gnawing at him. The drive for success had replaced the values of hard work and community that once defined him. One evening, as he drove through his neighborhood, a flickering light broke through his thoughts. It came from Mr. Thompson's garage, a humble structure tucked between two shiny new houses. The janitor at Alex's firm, Mr. Thompson, led a modest life, but he carried a secret passion that set ablaze the dimness of his surroundings. As Alex approached, he could see a group of children, including his son, Ethan, gathered around Mr. Thompson, their faces lit with excitement. With a warm smile and an infectious energy, Mr. Thompson was teaching them the art of coding. His heart tightened, a pang of pride and jealousy intertwining as he watched Ethan's eyes glimmer with joy, soaking in every bit of knowledge imparted by the unassuming man. Here was Mr. Thompson, a beacon of resilience, showing children how to navigate the tech-driven world that Alex dominated. At that moment, Alex realized these lessons went far beyond the screen. They were woven with threads of determination and grit, reflecting real-life struggles and triumphs. Ethan's laughter brought Alex back to reality, and as their eyes met, he felt the distance between them widen. Was Ethan being lured by something deeper than the shallow rewards of wealth? This moment stirred something within Alex that he hadn't felt in years, a longing for connection, both with Ethan and the community he had seemingly abandoned. Before Alex could process the implications of what he had just witnessed, a prestigious tech competition was announced. Seizing the chance to reconnect with his son and elevate Mr. Thompson's teachings, he volunteered to sponsor the event. His heart raced with hope, believing this was the path to unify them, a bridge spanning the gap that had grown between father and son. But as the event unfolded, harsh realities hit. Prejudice and inequality bubbled to the surface. The community's discrepancies revealed themselves, leaving Alex grappling with discomfort and guilt. Mr. Thompson, who worked tirelessly in the shadows, suddenly embodied the very embodiment of struggle that Alex's privileged life had sheltered him from. In that moment, Alex faced his own privilege, an urgent desire for change igniting within him. No longer just a millionaire, he became an ally, joining forces with Mr. Thompson. They shared a mutual understanding, respect born from their different worlds, yet so deeply connected by a common goal. As the competition began to crumble around them, doubt crept in, filling Alex's heart with uncertainty. Could they push back against a system entrenched in bias? This new alliance sparked a fire of hope, but the looming question remained: could they unite the children and shine a light on the transformative power of education against the forces of social inequality? In the shadows of Mr. Thompson's garage, their journey was just beginning, one laden with challenges that would test the very fabric of community ties. The tension in the air crackled like electricity as the day of the tech competition arrived. Children from various backgrounds filled the community center's auditorium, nervous and excited, their faces a mix of determination and childlike wonder. Alex stood at the entrance, his heart racing as he watched the vibrant chaos unfold. This wasn't just a competition, it was a symbol, a chance to rewrite the narrative of privilege and access in their town. Ethan darted past him, flanked by a couple of friends, their arms laden with colorful makeshift computers made from cardboard and enthusiasm. Alex's chest swelled with pride, yet a wave of doubt crashed over him. Would this event truly offer the change he yearned for? Would it unify the kids, spark creativity, and inspire hope? Or would it be another failed attempt at bridging a chasm that seemed insurmountable? As he moved deeper into the auditorium, Alex spotted Mr. Thompson helping the kids set up their projects. The way the janitor communicated his patience, his attentiveness was remarkable. It made Alex realize how much he had to learn from the man he had so often overlooked. Here was Mr. Thompson, just a few steps away from him, creating a safe space where innovation thrived, regardless of social standing. "Hey, Mr. Thompson," Alex called, a hint of hesitance in his voice. Mr. Thompson turned, his face breaking into that familiar warm smile. "Alex. Great to see you here. I'm a bit nervous, but these kids are ready to shine," he replied, a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. The two men shared a nod, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Still, the clouds of uncertainty loomed. As the competition kicked off, the judges began their assessments, moving from project to project. Alex couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability in the room. It was palpable, a reminder that for some children, these moments held the potential to shift the course of their lives. After several projects, he overheard some murmurs from a group of kids sitting towards the back. "They don't even belong here," one scoffed loudly, glancing at a group of children who had brought homemade inventions from less affluent neighborhoods. The whispers stung, and Alex felt a surge of anger. How could they be so cruel? How could they not see the brilliance in diversity, in differing backgrounds, in unique stories? Determined to shift the narrative, Alex found himself at the microphone. He cleared his throat, his heart pounding, and the room quieted down. "Everyone here has worked hard, regardless of where they come from. Coding isn't just for the privileged, it's for dreamers, creators, and innovators," he declared. His voice grew stronger with each word. "Let us celebrate our differences and lift each other up." He saw a flicker of hope in the faces of the kids around him. Some broke into smiles, while others whispered to their friends. A new energy surged through the room, reshaping the atmosphere. Sure, the competition mattered, but the community, the support, and the shared path forward mattered even more. As the event reached its climax, the top projects were announced, and cheers erupted. But it was the laughter, the sense of belonging, the sparks of friendship among the children that became the true victory of the day. Then, as the final project was unveiled, something unexpected happened. A child from one of the less privileged neighborhoods stepped up to address everyone. "I don't care if I win or lose," the boy began, his voice shy but firm, "I just want to create something that helps people like me." At that moment, Alex understood. It wasn't about winning, it was about creating spaces for voices that often went unheard. As the applause echoed in celebration, Alex exchanged glances with Mr. Thompson, pride swelling in both their hearts. But little did they know, turmoil was brewing just outside the door, one that would challenge everything they believed about their shared vision. Did they have the strength to face what lay ahead together? The applause faded slowly, but the warmth in the room lingered. Alex felt uplifted, as if the collective spirit of the children had wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. He exchanged a nod with Mr. Thompson, both of them silently acknowledging the shift in the atmosphere. This day was still a battle for equity, but it felt like a small victory against the bigger fight. Yet, outside, the tension was rising. As the last project was celebrated, the door swung open with a force that echoed through the auditorium. A group of adults stormed in, their demeanor sharp and demanding, a stark contrast to the joy that filled the room. Alex recognized some faces, local investors, decision-makers who often turned their backs on the community's needs. What were they doing here? "Excuse me," one of the men called out, voice booming like thunder. The laughter evaporated as kids turned to look at the newcomers. This competition is supposed to showcase talent, not turn into some free-for-all pity party. The words dripped with disdain, and the atmosphere shifted from jubilant to tense in an instant. Alex's heart sank. In that moment, he felt the weight of his earlier hope buckle as uncertainty poured back in. It was like watching a fragile dream being broken right before his eyes. He wanted to step forward, to say something, but the fear of being one voice against many held him back. Behind him, Ethan clenched his fists, his face fierce with determination. "This isn't about pity. It's about innovation. We are here to showcase our creations," he shouted, his youthful boldness echoing in defiance of the adults' harshness. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, channeling both authority and compassion. "Let us remember the essence of this competition," he said, his voice steady. It's about lifting each other up, regardless of our backgrounds. Today was a celebration of ideas, heart, and potential. But the man who had spoken first shook his head, smirking. You think a few cardboard computers are going to change the fate of this town? Talent gets recognition, not charity. A ripple of discomfort spread among the kids. They shifted awkwardly, losing the confidence they had just built. Alex could see the spark of passion in their eyes start to dim. It was infuriating. Were these adults really going to ignore the unity and resilience that was brewing right beside them? Anger surged through him once more, heating his cheeks. He looked around the room at all the faces filled with uncertainty. It was time to reconnect that energy, to channel it into something stronger than doubt. He took a deep breath, remembering the fiery words that had rallied the crowd earlier. Fingers trembling, he grabbed the microphone once more, his voice cutting through the grown-up skepticism. Everyone deserves a chance, a voice, and support. Maybe we are not billionaires or tech gurus, but we are innovators. Each project here tells a story, a vision of a better tomorrow. We are not waiting for handouts. We are here to create paths for ourselves. A murmur of agreement began in the back row and quickly spread through the auditorium. Children began to clap, their small hands echoing the resolve that was rising in the air. The adults' faces shifted from condescension to confusion. They clearly hadn't anticipated this, and for once, the kids truly felt empowered. But just as the tide seemed to turn, another voice sliced through the renewed energy. Are you done with your little show? One of the investors barked. Let us see if this publicity stunt is worth anything. That challenge hung heavy in the air, and Alex felt a weight settle on his shoulders. Could they actually show the power of their ideas, or were they just playing for the moment? Standing in front of the crowd, he realized the fight was far from over. Outside these walls, the world challenged them. But together, with their stories, creativity, and resolve, they could make a difference. What would it take to prove that their ideas were worth something? Would they rise to the occasion, or would doubt win once again? The tension in the room was palpable. Alex's heart raced as he looked to the sea of young faces staring back at him, some still flush with hope. Ethan's fierce determination ignited a spark within him, urging Alex onward. This was not just a moment. It was a chance to prove that their dreams meant something. Let us show them. Ethan called to the crowd, his voice unwavering. We've worked too hard for this. The clapping grew louder, an infectious sound that seemed to push the adults back a step. Mr. Thompson stood firmly beside Alex, his eyes bright with encouragement. Instead of feeling isolated, Alex felt the energy in the room shift. They were not alone. Who here has worked late nights because you believed in your project? Alex shouted, invoking a wave of raised hands. Yes. Ethan echoed, his excitement feeding off Alex's words. The mixture of uncertainty and defiance transformed into something stronger, a coalition of dreams, united in purpose. With each passing second, the crowd of children embraced a resilience they hadn't fully recognized until the adults had threatened their triumph. Let us show them what we've got. Alex called again, his voice filled with emotion. The auditorium erupted with claps, cheers, and chants that reverberated off the walls. It was a powerful chant, echoed by the kids who had poured their hearts into the projects. Our ideas matter. Our ideas matter. It quickly grew into a unified force. Seeing the shift, one of the investors hesitated, the confident sneer on his face faltering. He glared at the assembled children who, despite their differences, stood united. It was clear they had tapped into something greater than all of them. But there was still a battle ahead. Fine, show us. The man shouted, waving a hand dismissively, as if trying to swat away a gnawing problem. Let us see some real talent. How about a presentation? Alex's pulse quickened. Then let us do it, he responded without hesitation. Everyone, grab your projects. With guidance from Mr. Thompson, the students organized themselves quickly. Bouncing off the energy of the crowd, they displayed their inventions on tables scattered throughout the auditorium. The once stagnant air ignited as a series of mini-presentations blossomed around the room. Unexpectedly, the kids shone bright. They explained their work with proud smiles, voices filled with conviction. A project on renewable energy sparked spontaneous applause, while a pair of students demoed their prototype of an app designed to help students collaborate on homework. The adults had come looking for weaknesses but were instead faced with brilliance. Alex stood off to the side, watching. His heart swelled with pride. They were weaving together the narrative of innovation, community, and potential. It was real now. Yet, the investors weren't easily swayed. A murmur grew among them, pointing fingers and whispering criticisms, but for the first time, the kids weren't shy. They pushed through their anxiety, and slowly but surely, the hardened expressions of the adults softened, if only slightly. As the final presentation wrapped up, an unexpected silence filled the space. The students, panting from the adrenaline and bursting with anticipation, watched as the adults exchanged glances. What was happening behind those wary eyes? Alex stepped forward, courage bubbling within him. So, what do you think? Before anyone could respond, Mr. Thompson took charge. You've seen the heart and innovation these kids embody. Tell us, what will it take for you to invest in our community's future? Tension thickened once more. The question lingered heavy in the air. Now the true test began. Could they seize this moment, or would doubt haunt them again? Alex felt his heart pound in sync with the uncertainty that lay ahead. The adults were still looking for answers, and so were they. But what if this was the turning point? What if today could change everything? As voices started to rise again, Alex had one more question burning in his chest. Would they stand together no matter the outcome? He held his breath, awaiting the answer. The murmur among the adults grew, a rising tide of skepticism that made the air feel heavy. Alex shifted from foot to foot, his throat dry. The faces of his friends reflected the same uncertainty, their excitement colliding with a fear that bubbled just beneath the surface. They were all waiting for something, a signal, a decision, anything that could tilt this moment in their favor. Finally, one of the investors, a stern woman with sharp features, cleared her throat. We saw some innovative ideas, she began, and the collective breath of the kids seemed to hold for a moment. But innovation needs funding, and a feasibility study. She glanced at her colleagues, readying for a dismissal. Study? Ethan's voice piped up, filled with frustration. We know what we can do. We've done the work. We didn't just come here for Ethan, Mr. Thompson interrupted gently, placing a steadying hand on his shoulder. Let us hear them out. Alex felt the moment slipping. He took a deep breath and spoke, letting the emotions guide his words. We're not asking for much. Just a chance. These projects aren't just ideas, they're a part of us. We believe in them. The auditorium was silent. The adults were still and calculating, but something shifted in their expressions. They were at least listening now. Let us not pretend this is about profit alone, Alex continued, emboldened. This is about the future. Our future. We've researched, we've worked tirelessly, and we're learning every day. We need your support, not just your money. We want to change our world. At that moment, Alex caught the eye of a few of his peers. Their nervousness was replaced with a determination that mirrored his own. They had come this far together, and no matter how daunting the response from the adults might be, they were a team. But the silence didn't break. Instead, the stern woman turned to her colleagues, whispering under her breath. Alex scanned the audience, the weight of their judgment like a thick fog. Isn't that what we really need? Future leaders? Mr. Thompson interjected, breaking the quiet tension. These kids are stepping up. If we don't invest in their dreams, what are we saying to the next generation? With those words sparked a flicker of hope among the students, a small but powerful shift. It was as if Mr. Thompson's faith had unlocked something. Finally, the investor turned back toward the crowd, her steely resolve softening just a bit. I hear your passion. But show me more than just dreams. Show me how these projects stand against the real world. Alex felt a surge of determination wash over him. This wasn't just about getting their projects funded anymore. It was about proving them wrong. Let us show you what we can do outside this room, he challenged. We can present live demos, show what happens when these ideas meet reality. Invest in us, and we'll work to prove that this isn't just a school project, it's the beginning of something bigger. You could almost see the gears turning in the investors' minds. Some nodded slightly, while others frowned in contemplation. What do you say? Ethan called, his voice rising once more, echoing Alex's fire. Let us bring our ideas to life. Alex locked eyes with Ethan, feeling the electric pull of their collective hope. The silence was now a buzzing anticipation. But then, the stern woman raised a hand, silencing the roar that had begun to build. You're asking for the chance to not only showcase your ideas but also to put them at risk. If we say yes, it comes with a commitment from all of you. Are you ready to take that on? In that moment, Alex's heart thudded in his chest. Was this really happening? They were on the brink of something significant, but it came with its own weight. Together, we're ready, Alex said, feeling the strength of his friends beside him. The woman's gaze softened, a flicker of something. Was it respect? Optimism? Crossing her face. But just before she could respond, the auditorium doors burst open. An unexpected rush of air swept through, and everyone turned. Who had come crashing into this charged atmosphere? Demanding their attention? Alex felt the tension unraveling only to be pulled tight once more. The moment hung before them, suspense hovering in the air like a breath held too long, waiting for something to change everything. Who could it be? The figure who burst through the doors was a boy, perhaps a few years younger than Alex. He wore a hoodie baggy enough to swallow him whole, and his wild hair stuck out in all directions, framing his round face. He was panting, eyes wide with panic. Wait! Don't dismiss them! He called out, his voice raw with urgency. The room froze. Conversations halted. All eyes snapped toward him, the energy in the air crackling anew. What? The stern woman asked, incredulous. Who are you? I'm Harper. I work on some of the projects with them. He pointed at Alex and the others. Please, listen. His breath came in short gasps, and he took a step forward, crossing the threshold laid out by the adults. You don't understand what these ideas mean. They're more than just projects. They're lifelines. When I saw what these guys were doing, I thought I was dreaming. What do you mean? One of the investors challenged, crossing her arms. Harper hesitated, glancing back at Alex. They'd been tight-knit ever since they started working together in the after-school program. I found myself thinking less about how hard it is to keep going and more about how much better it could be if we tried. They're changing the game. What they're doing will help kids just like us who feel lost. The sincerity in Harper's eyes was palpable. It was contagious too, a collective feeling of hope surged amongst the students. Alex could feel it in his bones, pushing him to step forward alongside Harper. We're not just working on ideas, we're building solutions, Alex added, nodding toward Harper. We want to help kids who feel like they don't fit in, like they have no voice. We've been working on projects that reach out, use technology, art, everything we can to lift each other up. With each word, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. An older man, one of the investors with graying hair, leaned forward slightly. And how do you plan to sustain this? This isn't a hobby, it's a business. Can you create something meaningful enough to last? Ethan stepped in, the edge of determination sharpening his voice. We've thought of that too. These projects aren't just one-off events. They build on each other, share resources, and grow into something bigger. We want to make it sustainable. It's just the beginning. The investors exchanged glances, but this time, it was different. The atmosphere had shifted. The serious faces were hesitant to dismiss the energy radiating from the group. We believe in this, Alex continued, feeling more confident every second that passed. We're ready for the responsibility. But we need your belief too. Your partnership. Together, Harper agreed, his eyes lighting up with fervor. This can change everything for us. Just give us a chance. The interest lingered thick in the air, but the stern woman raised an eyebrow as if she had more questions. Suddenly, the room felt alive with potential. Actually, I do have one last question, she said evenly, catching the group off guard. What would you do after all this? Once you've got your ideas out there, what's next for you? Alex's stomach twisted at the thought. It was all unfolding in such an unexpected way, the recognition of how much they could do together. Hope and fear danced in his chest. We want to be leaders, innovators, Alex replied quickly, swallowing hard. We want to inspire others to create. Maybe even start a program to teach kids like us how to turn their dreams into reality too. The room seemed to hold its breath. You're dreaming big, one of the investors said, a hint of a smile forming despite her rigid posture. But maybe that's exactly what we need. Before Alex could bask in the moment, the auditorium doors swung open again, and this time it was a girl from their school, a classmate, bursting inside. I just heard what happened. You guys are amazing. Their heads spun back, anticipation mounting once more. What exactly was she about to reveal? The girl's excitement radiated through the room, and for a moment, it felt like they were all basking in the glow of her unexpected enthusiasm. Whispers rippled through the crowd as everyone leaned in, eager to hear what she would say next. Alex's heart raced. Laura, right? Harper called out, his voice cutting through the chatter. What do you mean we're amazing? She shot him a broad smile, her cheeks flushed. I just overheard some people in the hallway talking about your presentation. They think you guys have something extraordinary. Everyone's buzzing about it. A wave of disbelief washed over Alex. Could it really be? Could they be making such an impact already? Excitement clawed at his insides, but skepticism mingled with it. But we haven't even pitched our ideas yet. They don't really know us, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Are you kidding? Laura exclaimed, animatedly bouncing on the balls of her feet. They've heard enough to know you all are young, passionate, and ready to change the world. And that's what we all want. The investors watched her closely, the interest in their eyes flickering again. Laura continued, her voice steady and resonant, Look, I wasn't sure what to think when I heard about what you were doing. But standing back and watching you guys, she gestured around the room. I see you unite the students. You inspire them. We need more of that. The tension in the air shifted, a crackle of new energy taking over. A smirk formed on the face of the older investor, still leaning forward. So tell me, Laura, why do you think they inspire? Laura took a breath, her sincerity cutting through the buzz, because they believe. They believe that we can make our lives better, that we're not alone in this. They're not asking for permission, they're just doing it. Alex felt his heartbeat quicken. This was validation. They weren't just a collection of kids with big ideas, they were a movement, and it was starting to happen right before his eyes. You're absolutely right, the stern woman nodded slowly, her expression softening. But we still need more than passion. We need plans, logistics, the whole picture. Ethan, never one to shy away from a challenge, held his chin high. We're ready. We've already got concepts and timelines worked out. Laura touched Alex's arm lightly, grounding him, as if her kindness was the surge of confidence he desperately needed. "You know, Alex, this could be the turning point you all need. This is your chance to change lives, not just for you, but for everyone like us." The room buzzed with a low hum of conversation and excitement. The investors murmured amongst themselves, and for the first time, it felt like they were leaning into the idea as much as they were questioning. "What's next for us, you ask?" Alex finally took a front step, feeling the weight of responsibility and hope resting on his shoulders. "Well, we want to build a community, one that stays connected even after the projects are done. We want to create a place for everyone, where kids can discover what they're truly passionate about." Just then, the auditorium doors swung open again, and a shadow fell across the room. It was the principal, eyes wide and serious. "You all need to listen. Something big is happening, and it involves your project." Every person in the room turned as the principal stepped forward, the gravity of his presence silencing any whispers. "What now?" Alex thought nervously, heart pounding. Would this be another hurdle, or would it be the moment that changed everything? The principal's voice filled the room like a weighty fog, and for a moment, it felt as if time stood still. Alex's stomach twisted into knots. What is going on? He thought, struggling to make sense of the sudden shift in atmosphere. "Your project is under review," the principal said, glancing around at the faces peering back at him. "There are some people from the district who want to hold a special session. They believe what you guys are proposing could be more than just a school project. It could potentially be implemented across the district." Alex felt a rush of anxiety mixed with thrill. Could this really be happening? His mind raced with questions. What do they want? Are we ready for that? A ripple of excitement surged through the crowd, but Alex struggled to keep his feet firmly planted on the ground. The principal continued, "But with that opportunity comes scrutiny. You need to be prepared. They want to see your entire plan, including every detail, every obstacle you've anticipated and how you plan to overcome them." Ethan exchanged a glance with Alex, and the realization hit them simultaneously. This wasn't just about pitching their ideas anymore. This was about proving they could execute them, under a spotlight that felt impossibly bright. Alex could feel the room holding its breath, the investors absorbing every word, leaning closer in with interest. And the principal's tone became more solemn. "There are talks of an evaluation committee involved people who have never stepped foot in our school. They don't just want a presentation, they want to see the potential impact on the entire community, how you plan to inspire lasting change." The chatter in the room started again, a cocktail of fear and excitement. The investors were nodding, their eyes gleaming with something other than skepticism now. The atmosphere was electric, anticipation crackling like a live wire. "This is not just about us anymore," Alex whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Laura squeezed his arm, her support grounding him even when everything felt dizzying. Harper spoke up, his voice steady, "So we're gonna show them everything we've got. We're prepared, right?" Alex nodded, his adrenaline pumping. "Yes. If they want to see our impact, we'll show them what we've built and how far we're willing to go to help the community." The investors looked at one another, intrigued. They could sense the commitment radiating from the group like a beacon. But just then, the principal's phone buzzed, and his brows furrowed as he read the message. "There's something else. You'll have an audience, and not just your classmates or teachers. Some community leaders will be in attendance. This could open doors we never imagined." The room erupted in whispers and hushed excitement. Alex's mind spun. They had to rise to the occasion, no matter how daunting this seemed. "We need to start planning," he urged, glancing at his friends. "This is our chance to not just dream but to create something real." As the group moved into discussions about concepts, timelines, and strategies, a steadfast commitment filled the air. But underlining the enthusiasm, a question niggled at the back of Alex's mind. What if they failed? What if they were exposed as just a bunch of kids with fanciful ideas? As their planning deepened, Alex's thoughts drifted towards limitless possibilities and scenarios, all that could unfold if they were a success. But then the door swung open again, bringing in a gust of cold air and an unexpected chill. A figure stepped in, cloaked in mystery, a knowing smile dancing on their lips. "Don't forget," the newcomer announced with a charismatic flair. "Sometimes the best ideas come from the most unlikely places." All eyes turned toward this stranger, curiosity igniting in the air. Who were they, and what did they know about Alex's project? Would they be a friend or foe? The room buzzed with whispered curiosity, eyes darting from the principal to the stranger. This was not the kind of interruption they had anticipated. The newcomer stepped closer, wearing a fitted jacket that screamed confidence, his gaze sweeping over each student with an almost magnetic charm. "I heard about the project," he continued, his voice smooth and inviting. "It's been making waves, you know. I'm here to help." Alex felt a flicker of hope among his anxiety. Help? Could they really use that? "Who are you?" Laura couldn't hold back, her voice edged with both excitement and skepticism. "Name's Marcus," he replied, offering a relaxed smile. "I've spent years in innovation and community outreach, and let me tell you, what you guys are doing is powerful. It can change lives." Ethan crossed his arms, skepticism on his brow. "And why do you care?" Marcus chuckled softly. "I care because I believe in youth creativity. When I was your age, I had a dream, and I want to help you realize yours too." His eyes shone with passion as he spoke. "But passion needs a plan, and I can help you fine-tune it." Alex exchanged glances with his friends, indecision hanging in the air like fog. Could they trust him? Yet the idea of having someone with experience on their side tugged at their hearts. "What do you mean, fine-tune?" Harper asked, intrigued despite himself. "Well, let us look at your core ideas. Your project isn't just about dreaming big, it's about practicality. Strategy." Marcus leaned in a little, like he was sharing a prized secret. "I can help you break it down and make it digestible for those community leaders. We want them to not just see what you hope to do, but how you'll get there." As the group listened, his words ignited a new spark of motivation. "Think about it this way. You're not only going to present a proposal, you're telling a story, a narrative that connects with the community. This isn't just about impressing them. It's about engaging them in a shared vision." Alex's heart raced. A shared vision. It felt right. Under Marcus's watchful gaze, their potential shifted from a dream to a tangible reality. "Okay," Alex said, feeling braver than he had a moment ago. "But how can we prepare? We have limited time." "Exactly." Marcus grinned, showing his enthusiasm. "Let us break this down. We'll create a structure, the goals, the obstacles, your unique selling points. But here's the catch: it's not all about numbers and charts. We need to weave in the emotional impact, the personal stories that underline your mission." "That makes sense," Laura chimed in. "People respond to stories. They remember them." "Exactly," Marcus continued, nodding fervently. "You each have your reasons for being here. Infuse that into your presentation. You're not just a group of kids, you're the future leaders of this community." This was it. An opportunity to show everyone what they could offer. The buzzing excitement swelled once again, grounding Alex in determination. "All right. Let us do this together." As the group rallied together, the door swung closed behind them, leaving the world outside at bay. Ideas flowed like water, filled with energy. Alex felt the walls of doubt start to crumble around him. But amidst the fervor, a shadow crossed his mind. What if they opened up too much? What if their vulnerability turned into insecurities? Marcus, sensing the shift in energy, paused. "Don't shy away from your truths. Vulnerability can be your biggest strength. As they began to outline their stories, laughter mixed with the notes of uncertainty. It was raw, it was real, and it was terrifying. But in that moment, something shifted. They weren't just aiming to impress anymore, they were building connections that mattered. Just then, the principal's phone buzzed again. "It looks like we don't just have community leaders attending the session," he said gravely. "There's a chance that some media will be there too." The room fell silent, a collective gasp echoing as a wave of panic swept through them. The stakes were raised higher than they had imagined. "Are we ready for this?" Alex thought, staring at the group as faces paled. What had they gotten themselves into? Uncertainty settled like thick fog again, and Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they needed to dig deeper into their plans and themselves. What if revealing their vulnerabilities would open doors, or would it lead to their downfall? The night was just beginning, and with it came questions that lingered heavily in the air. As the night wore on, a fierce determination built up within Alex and his friends. They gathered in the empty auditorium, the shadows flickering across their faces as fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. It was time to reclaim their courage, to weave their stories into the fabric of a hopeful future. "Okay, let us do this," Ethan exclaimed, his voice cutting through the tension. "We need to share who we are and what we care about. Let us be real." Alex nodded, fueled by Ethan's enthusiasm. "Exactly. Let us start with why we care. Each of us has a reason for being here." They started with Ethan, who shared about his struggles with feeling out of place, yet how coding had opened doors for him, a path to fit in and stand out at the same time. The room soaked in his earnestness, the vulnerability spilling out in waves. Next, Laura spoke about her little sister, who faced challenges accessing technology at home. "She deserves the same opportunities we have," she said, emotion thick in her voice. "That's why this project is so important to me." One by one, they began to share the stories tethering their dreams to their reality, the stark moments of doubt, the swirling hope, and how they longed to uplift those who felt unseen. Alex felt the air change as each voice rose higher, gaining strength and momentum. Marcus watched, a proud smile spreading across his face. "This is it. This is your narrative. But we also need to highlight what we've been working on practically." Excitement flared as they dove into their strategies. They outlined their projects, blending emotional depth with concrete plans. The murmurs outside the auditorium faded, eclipsed by their fervor. As preparations progressed, Alex saw Ethan shake a little. "What if we don't connect with the community leaders?" he whispered, fear creeping back in. "We will. Don't doubt yourselves," Alex reassured him. "We've come this far. We've got this." A gentle confidence wrapped around him, and for the first time, the concept of failure was replaced with the possibility of success. This was their moment, not just for validation but for connection. Just then, the doors swung open again. The principal walked in, an enigmatic smile on his face. "It's almost time," he announced, his expression filled with anticipation. "Everything you've prepared has the potential to change lives." Heart racing, Alex felt a mix of adrenaline and apprehension. The room buzzed with energy as the team started gathering their materials, preparing for those community leaders whose judgment loomed ahead. As they approached the venue, the palpable tension dissipated into a flowing excitement. The auditorium, filled with figures of authority, felt like a stage that held the hopes of a generation. But as they stepped inside, eyes fell not only on them but on the project ideas, the stories, and the palpable pulse of promise radiating throughout the space. "Look!" Ethan pointed out as they connected with familiar faces in the audience, who had come to cheer them on, teachers, parents, Mr. Thompson, all rooting for them. The murmurs of the community leaders began fading as one approached them, a sharp-eyed man with a reputation for being tough yet fair. As he locked eyes with Alex, he spoke, "I want to know how your ideas will not just exist but thrive. Show me why we should believe in you." Here goes, Alex thought, standing a little taller. Let us show them. And as they began their presentation, weaving together facts and heartfelt stories, a bond formed in the room, electric and alive. They showed passion, commitment, and most importantly, they shared a vision that transcended their differences. With each passing moment, it became clear. The leaders began leaning in, engaged. Questions replaced skepticism, and excitement stirred in the air like a gust of wind behind their sails. And when the presentation ended, a silence settled, thick with anticipation. Finally, the stern woman who had questioned them most spoke up. You've shown courage and passion. If you can translate that into tangible change, then count me in. As applause erupted. Around them, Alex felt the weight of fear lift, replaced by a burgeoning realization of their collective power. They had done it. But just as they began to celebrate, Marcus leaned in, whispering, and this isn't the end. You have a long road ahead. Are you ready to keep pushing? Alex's heart raced with excitement and determination. Yes. We will keep going. He declared, meeting the eyes of his friends, and in those moments of connection, an unshakable promise blossomed. They would be more than kids with dreams, they would become champions of change. As the applause faded and energy shifted into discussions of next steps, Alex realized that they were now part of something bigger than themselves, a community coming together, ready to manifest a future brimming with hope and innovation. Together, they would rise, not just for themselves, but for everybody who believed they could make a difference. And with a final glance at Ethan, Laura, and Mr. Thompson, Alex felt a rush of pride and unity swelling inside him. This was just the beginning. Now was the time to share their achievements, and Alex couldn't help but feel that this experience was something they needed to broadcast, to inspire others. So, because of everything that had unfolded, let us make this an ironclad request. If you believe in the spirit of change, this is your call to action. You need to subscribe now if you don't want to miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and spread these tales of transformation. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. We want to hear from you. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how a community can rise together. Don't wait not even one more second to support this channel. Only true fans understand how powerful your actions can be in believing together.